Well, welcome. I am going to be doing a little bit of a video here for the syllabus or the course instructional package. I even put on my tie and stuff to do this. So I'm going to try to use, I was trying to use Skype, but I couldn't quite figure it out, and I need to get this done. So I'm using Zoom to record it right now because I want to try and record my computer screen as we go over stuff. So I hope everybody's doing well. I hope you're excited about the summer semester. I am. I'm excited. I'm nervous. As I said, I think if you've seen the news item that I put on D2L, I am a little nervous about this. This is an official online class, I guess. I will tell you, I am not an online professor. This is the first time I'm trying to do it, and there's a lot of stuff to it. So anyway, since we're all on this journey together, let's begin. I want to start first by looking at, which I know, I shouldn't say I know, I will assume that most everybody is Horry Georgetown technical students that have been here from before. And so you know things like this as far as I want to sign into WaveNet, just to give you an idea. WaveNet is kind of your home. It is where most of the stuff for school is going to be found. So you can see there's different things you can find, your calendar dates. Now, of course, mine's going to look a little different than yours because mine is from a professor standpoint, but it still has a basic layout. Just for reference, again, I was kind of showing you here, again, since this is kind of an online situation, there's no official finals schedule. Our finals are going to be at August 3rd through the 6th, I believe. And anyway, on a normal semester, just to know that under these calendars, the testing schedule is up early in the semester, actually before the semester begins. So if you ever were looking at that, it's a good thing to know. Also, what we're going to spend time on is about D2L, and I'm sure, again, most of you know about D2L, but that's how you get to it from the home page on your WaveNet. You click on that, it takes you to another, opens up another page, and this is D2L. This is our home page. So this is my home page from the school. When you open yours up, it'll be your home page. Now off to the right, it's got your courses and whatever. You can also have them up here. I would highly recommend that you pin the ones that you use. These are ours. So these are the ones I'll be teaching this semester. SO1 and SO2 are the only ones. These are ones that I'm trying to use to help me figure out what I'm doing on this online stuff. So all good. So I'm going to click on SO1 just to show you. This is the home page for that particular class. Again, I'm doing this for both my SO1 and SO2 class. SO2, I'm sorry that I'm kind of leaving you out, but just picking on them right now. This is going to be the home page, like I said, for this class. There's a section here called news items, and it'll be set up. I've already got some things on here. This is set up to when our class starts, that you'll be able to see it. It's got my contact information and some information about Connect. And I'll talk about Connect as we go through, but just to let you know, as it says bold and highlighted and in caps here, you do not have to purchase a new Connect code. The Connect code that you used last semester is good. I'll show you how to move over to this class and get out of last semester's class as we go through. But not a big deal right now. Just want to just kind of keep on going with our just usual first day stuff. So this is kind of replicating our first day of class that usually is just you know, the rules and regulations, so to speak. And there's a lot of rules and regulation for online stuff, and man, it's brutal. So anyway, I say that because I'm not used to this. It's been brutal for me because it's a crash course in online teaching. So on your D2L page, you've got this little bar here, and it's got, you know, course home. This takes you to this actual page. If you ever needed to go back to the overall home, the little Horry Georgetown Technical logo takes you back to the official home of everything. So again, I'll get back to the SO1. Um, Under content, this is probably one of the most important. And when we were doing stuff that was basically online, this definitely was the most important. That was in person, I should say, not online. This is where you're going to find, first of all, because I know everybody loves these instructional packages. This is where you're going to find that, my information sheet. There is a link here to student services for online classes that I think is going to be very helpful, especially for you students that aren't used to taking an online class. I think this is a great link anyway. I'm trying to find more resources and put them up there as they go along. The big thing here are the lecture and lab tabs here. If you open it up, these are going to be, and we start with chapter 14, by the way. Endocrine gets pushed to the end. You'll see why later on, but these are our PowerPoints. Now, through the course of the semester, I'm going to be putting these PowerPoints kind of edited, making videos where I'm annotating over it, kind of highlighting things and trying to teach you from these as we go along. You'll see them both lecture and lab that I'm trying to do that for, so that you have some interaction. It's not just here, read this or watch some video that some other person made or whatever. I want to make sure that we are together on this because I'm making the tests. For the most part, I think that there's talk about the final, the cumulative final being a departmental final and a cumulative practical being kind of departmental, but we'll talk about that as we get there. But these are pretty important. I would highly recommend downloading them. Again, you don't have to. I just think it would be good, but these are the PowerPoints. In the PowerPoints, just to tell you as you're going through, there's a few things like this last one here that has the orange or red clinical application. Most of those I will tell you that I do not use as far as tests, or I really don't talk about on there. They've got good information, but we've got enough information that we're required to know instead of adding things along. So as you're going through, you can kind of if you want to look at them, because they're pretty, again, they have good information. You're welcome to look at them, but know that they're not going to be, unless I specifically say, they're not going to be anything I'm going to test you on. So we got the PowerPoints, and then we have also the lecture notes. Now, the lecture notes are really something that I kind of try to stress to people. People overlook them because the PowerPoints are nice. They're flashy. They got pictures and whatever. These are going to be where it's written out. And if you're looking at it, if you're reading through, wrong little scroll bar there. If you're reading through, you end up finding out that there's a pretty big difference in the way things are presented here on these Word documents, these lecture notes, as compared to the PowerPoints. And I do believe there was 2 different teams that worked on it. Neither one is necessarily right or wrong, but just when you can rely on pictures and just point to a few things, you don't have to say a lot. I think there's something important about this written description that kind of helps you remember certain things. So I highly recommend reading through these. Again, at the grand scheme of things, the book is the main foundation of this course. I think that these lecture notes do a good job of kind of condensing the book, each chapter, into pretty memorable little organized things. But that's just me, but just pointing it out there. If you're, I don't know how much everybody likes to read or whatever, and everybody's turned into visual learners. I'm telling you, be careful of that. If you think that being a visual learner just means watching videos, that's not exactly what that means. And if you are just watching someone's video, there's not a thought process that goes on in your brain. You're just getting out of 210. I know that it was, if you were in last semester, it's just a weird semester. Hopefully you didn't just skim through the nervous system, but we talked about the brain. There's all kinds of little association areas. The more association areas you can get involved in your thought process, the better your memory is. And so if you're just watching something, there's no interpretation. It's just going straight in. But when you're reading, you have to make a mental image. It's tying in different areas of your brain, and it ingrains the memory a lot better. So just a little food for thought. So there's the lecture. It's got the PowerPoints and the lecture notes, like I said, and then we have lab, which this is going to go through things. Obviously, the lab safety rules right now is not a big deal. I'm not going to, you know, when you're watching the lab videos, if you're not in proper attire, you're going to get in trouble. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, this is for when you get back and are at, you know, maybe not this semester, but next semester, whatever. Understand the safety rules just get tighter and tighter as you move up. If you're in 211 right now, which that's the only class I teach, so this summer semester, so your next class is probably going to be micro. Understand that once you get into micro, those rules become more and more strict as they go through. So we'll go over the information sheet in just a minute. These are the handouts. We have a project in lab. It's going to be a group project, and and unfortunately, the way it's set up, I can't, you know, just say, hey, everybody decide who you're going to go with. I am not only going to assign you your group, and I'm sorry if that it separates people that are friends. And just as a side note, I find that when students, two things, when students work in groups with people they think are friends, it can sometimes end that friendship. But also when you work with other people that you might not know, it develops kind of relationships that you didn't realize that you could have. And I think it's a really good thing. So I understand that group projects are not not the funnest thing when I was in school, and they're not my favorite as a professor, but I'm going to have a video that's going to go over some of the group projects and talk about it there. That's what this GELO, G-E-L-O, is. So there's 5 topics. Again, I'm going to randomly assign the topics to each group. I know there are some people that have taken 211 before in these 2 classes that I've got. You know, if you end up getting the one you had before, you really shouldn't want that. But I get as a student, it's like, whoo, I've already done the work. But I'm not gonna, you know, I hope that you get a different thing, because I do not want old material worked into here. And I'm just telling you that if I find that there's old material that's put in, I'm going to have a problem with that. So anyway, this gives our lab summer schedule. This is going to move pretty quick. Again, we don't have official dates again for lab, so you're kind of just going through the week. So this is, again, where you'll find a lot of stuff. I've got my overall PowerPoints here to look at, and we'll, you know, but again, I am putting out videos that kind of go over it, and so that you can hear me, you know, kind of describe what I think are the important topics on there. So that's kind of that content part. This is where a lot of the information is. We're going to have, because in here, there is going to be a cardiovascular project, a group project. Again, I'm going to have a video that goes over it. You're going to have to upload it onto Dropbox. We'll go over the dates for that when in the other video. Also, I am kind of learning about how these discussion boards open up. I'm going to try to have a discussion board in general open up so that you can try to help, you know, try to ask me questions, but also you can ask other students in the class, you know, you can help other people. And again, this is a weird time. I hope that everybody understands we're all in the same boat. Some people, as far as the schooling goes, some people are better at online stuff than others. If you know certain tricks and things, and I don't want to call them tricks, but, you know, hints on how to make it easier, please share them with the class. I feel bad because that's one thing that I can't do, because I don't know the tricks, because I've never taught it online, and last semester really didn't count. It was just kind of weird. So anyway, I'm going to open up some discussion boards to try and help communication. Again, communication is going to be key. Communication is vital, and you'll see in the news post, you know, vital means life, and the communication is our lifeline. I'm going to do my best to communicate with you. Please, you know, understand that, but communicate with others to kind of make sure we're all doing all right. And oddly enough, the discussion boards aren't under communication. I always think that's kind of weird, but the email, I will try to send email on D2L occasionally. D2L's email is very limited. My emails are going to go out by way of the WaveNet, and I just sent a group email out with a little introductory quick update for the start, for Monday's start of the semester. Today's Saturday, by the way. I just sent that email out. So I'm going to do most of my emails through WaveNet, but on D2L, what I'm going to use is I'm going to go back to this news thing. I'm going to put it on there, and it will send out a message. By the way, there is an app that you can upload or download called Brightspace Pulse. And it will send out whenever something new has been put onto your D2L class, it will give you an alert so that you will know it. So probably be a pretty good thing to get as we move along, because it'll just help you keep in touch. Tools, this is where the grades are going to be found, attendance. I'm not going to click on anything because I get the whole class and it has all of, it's got H numbers and stuff. And in today's world, I got to make sure that there's no stuff. But this is where you'll find different things, the attendance. Attendance is going to be huge, and we'll go over that when we get to these little instructional packages. So that's the general idea of navigating D2L. I will tell you that as far as email goes on D2L, because it's got such a limited space, you definitely want to avoid having any emails that have attachments on there, because it'll eat up that space. I would go through and delete emails that are no longer necessary, stuff that you sent or received last semester that you can get rid of. Because of the fact it's so limited, but that's up to you. So what I want to go over now, I'm going to pull up first the instructional package. So this is I always kind of jokingly call it the document formerly known as the syllabus. We don't call it the syllabus anymore. So so this is going to be, I'll move this a little bit. This is going to be the idea of how the class is going to run. I will kind of go over a few things, effective term through 220. This is a 4-credit-hour class. It's AMP2, basically. It's an extension of Anatomy and Physiology 1. It is basically one course that it's so big it has to be divided up into 2 semesters. I always love the rationale for the course here. The rationale for the course is simply because you need to take it, right? It is part of your curriculum, what you're planning to go into. It's a prerequisite. Again, although last semester I had 2 students who are in this class that when I asked this in 210, how many people are taking this just for fun, they raised their hand. But I think that they're going into some science thing. I think that they are going to be using this as a prerequisite, or at least I hope. But anyway, I'm glad they're in class with me again. I enjoyed having them in there. But anyway, it's one of those things. So the rationale for the course is basically you need it because you're trying to get into one of these healthcare fields. Course description, we're going to be learning about the body. I will tell you that this half of the class, the 211 portion, is highly physiology. It is very much a lot of how the body works. 210, the basic systems that we look at are much more structure oriented. We don't get into much of the physiology, but when we get into this semester, we're going to look at a lot of physiology. So I would brush up on osmosis and pH and stuff, and I'll probably put some videos together trying to give some refresher courses on those. So prerequisites, you have to have a 210 minimum grade of C. I believe that you wouldn't be able to be in here if you didn't meet that. Now, this is an online/hybrid course anyway, that usually I can skip over this. There's a lot of things you're supposed to have done. I'm going to assume that you've done it. Again, I am learning how to teach this. I've had to take many hours of classes now over the course of this week, trying to learn how to, be prepared to be certified to teach online, which, dear Lord, I hope I can get back in class in further semesters, because I miss y'all. I don't like this online stuff personally. I'm only speaking for me. Required materials, the book, you need the book. Now, the good thing about this class, like I believe I said earlier on Connect, but overall, 211, everything you need for 211, you should have purchased in 210. It just rolls over. So you shouldn't have to purchase anything else. Connect is going to be a big thing, by the way. This is where your lecture tests are going to be. This is where a lot of lab stuff is. So you have to have Connect. For the last several semesters, I would tell students the Connect's a requirement, but I'm not, if you don't have it, I'm not going to throw you out. I'm not going to throw you out, but you'll throw yourself out, because if you don't have Connect, you're not going to be able to do a lot of the things that you need to do for grades. So while it is all along, it's been a requirement, right now it is required. So just letting you know. So if we move on down, additional requirements, you've got to, now this is something I'm trying to put together. Attendance is a huge thing. I'm supposed to put a orientation quiz at the beginning of the semester that you'll have to read and agree to the different things to it. The school is trying to put together some stuff for that. I'm trying to get it taken care of, but attendance, which is on down, this is going to be, a huge thing. Every week there's going to be a lecture and a lab requirement that you're going to have to do. So, but like if I have a lecture test, which there's going to be, almost every other week, there's going to be a lecture test. That'll be the lecture requirement for attendance that week. Every week, there's going to be a lab quiz at the end of the week. That's going to be the attendance for that lab. So there's going to be all kinds of stuff going on. It's going to be very strict. I can go ahead and tell you attendance, you still can only miss one lab. If you miss a second lab, and because it's the way it is, there's no makeups now. You've got all week to take all these things. But if you miss two, you miss one lab quiz, you miss a second one, you're automatically withdrawn. And then in lecture, if you miss two lecture quizzes, attendance quizzes, the third one, you're gone, withdrawn. So, it's kind of important. And again, I think that it's a lot easier than just if you have one class, I've got lab on, Monday at 3 or whatever. If you miss that, then, you got all week to kind of make it, since you got all week to take these quizzes, it should be pretty straightforward. So anyway, that's that. Technical requirements, you'll have to be able to get online. There's no way around it here. I'm assuming that most everybody can. I mean, shoot, most everybody's phones, smartphones can do it now. There is a student identification verification that's going to go on. I'm a little confused on this as far as what the school is telling us. First of all, they want us to have each student upload onto Dropbox. That means that I'm the only one that can see it. A picture, like a screen capture of you with your student ID, or whatever. This is my phone, but you're like, hey, so I can see a picture of you and the student ID. Evidently, there's a lot of cheating that went on last semester. And we'll talk about that in just a second. So they want us to have one verification at the beginning. I have been told that because we're going to have our lab practical, there's only one lab practical this semester, and it's at the end, and it's going to be on campus. And again, we'll talk about that more in a different video. But that's going to count because you'll have to prove an ID to get in to take the practical. So again, we'll talk about that more as we go along. Um, Classroom etiquette, since we're not in a classroom, this is kind of something that I will tell you online. I'm planning to do some sessions together. I mentioned this in the video I sent out today, that I wanted to do Zoom meetings last semester, but there were some big issues with Zoom. So we're doing Skype. I'm trying to learn Skype. I'm having some issues with it right now, but whatever. But when we can get a time where I can get groups of students together to go over, answer questions and kind of present things, it will have to be tightly controlled. I can't, I have leeway that if somebody or anyone is trying to be, cause a problem, I can not only just mute you, but I can expel you from it. So there's an etiquette. And again, like I said before, my class, I've always said this, there's basically two big things: respect and attitude. And I'm telling you, when you can start getting those under your control, it's amazing how much your life will change. So etiquette is a big part of that. Academic dishonesty. Now, this is one that was kind of big. We had a lot of issues with this in the end of the last semester. Everybody's grades, pretty much, not everybody, pretty much everybody's grades went up by a lot. And the school across, and not just our school, across the nation. And there was a lot of talk about that. So again, I'm gonna have another video trying to because I don't want to put too much into these. I know this one's gonna be fairly long because I got to go over this. But this is a big deal. You've gotta be careful of your, first of all, here, this is between me and you, not, Dr. Fandel, the professor or whatever, and you, the students. This is just me to you. You need this material. You're going to use it later on. If you are not learning this, I don't care what grade you get, you're going to get in over your head. These 210 and 211 are foundational materials for everything else. And it's not like you can get into another class and go, well, I got an A on that. And then go, oh, okay, well, you don't have to. I'm telling you, the biggest mistake that I can see that people are doing all the time, if someone's cheating, they will get to a point where you're going to either get caught or get in over their head where they can't swim. Please, please, please take ownership of what you do. Do your best, and whatever happens, happens. If you try to cheat, it will come back on you. And I'm sure there are plenty of people who are like, well, everybody else is doing it. I don't care. Do your best. Own your life. Whenever you cheat, you give some of your life away. And I'm a firm believer of that. But I also know, and I don't have to believe it, this is a fact. If you don't know this material, you will have issues coming up. So make sure you know it. All right. So anyway, on that note, the school is going to start coming down hard. They're going to start checking. That's why we have to have the practical in on campus. They want to have proctored tests. So anyway, we'll get to that at another time. So if you, I'm going to tell you one of the things also that if they catch someone cheating, they're going to really, there's not going to be a lot of wiggle room. So just please do your best. Now, this next part, it says student learning outcomes. This breaks down each one of the chapters. Now, I'm going to go through at the end of the semester, highlight things that I'm going to tell you that you need to make sure you're aware of and kind of have some ideas. Again, as long as you're kind of paying attention and really, keeping up as we're going along, once we get to that cumulative final, it is just organization. It's just kind of brushing up and tying in, making sure you've got the things that you had tied up. So, just understand that that's, the cumulative practical, everybody gets a little bit upset about, but don't worry too much about that. So as we go on, So we get through this, Uh, so we're getting to grading. So in grading, the way it's set up, that 75% comes from lecture, 25 from lab. That's kind of like we had before. So the grading system is a 10-point grading system. You have to have a C or above to pass in this class. Now, I can, as it says here, it talks about withdrawals and stuff. Things happen, and again, we had major things happen last semester. You can withdraw anytime up till the final. So just understand if something comes up, talk to me. I know that there's someone that's in one of my classes now. Actually, a couple people that are in classes now that were really worried and wanted to drop last semester. And I had a few that I think made the right choice and they dropped. I have several that made the right choice and stayed in and they did well because it was an odd situation. And I'm proud of I'm proud of everybody that I had in my classes. They were awesome. So anyway, so we have this. You can withdraw if you want up until the last the final. So that's just out there. Now, attendance, like I said, attendance is going to be very tightly monitored. You've got to do these quizzes, and I'm going to have them open for the whole week. They're going to be due on Saturday at noon. And at Saturday at noon, they're closed. There is not I wasn't thinking about it and I missed it and I need to open it. It is, you can't have attendance for a time that wasn't there, right? So once we pass Saturday at noon, that week is closed out. Right. So make sure you do these. And there's going to be whether it's a lecture test or not or whatever, there is something that you will see that's going to be both in lab and then a different thing in lecture that's going to be for attendance. So you've got to make sure you get those. And again, we're going to do our best. On my part, I'm going to do my best to make sure that you're aware of what's going on. And if I see somebody on Friday afternoon that hasn't taken something, I'll probably be sending them emails to say, look, hey, warning, danger, Will Robinson, it's time to take that. As I'm getting through here, I'm just laughing because even the reference Danger Will Robinson, that was old when I was a kid. So I'm sure that most of y'all are like, what? Anyway, so I want to point this out for sure. Student Services, the SSTC Center, they are online and they are huge to try and help what's going on now. So as you can see, that's going to be a big part. I would make sure you know how to get to them and talk to them. I think they've been doing a great job. So this is going to have some links to it. You can call and again, I can't speak highly enough of them. Tech Central, I think, has done a good job. So again, with the technology part of this, if you need to contact somebody, there are people that are really good with this. And then the testing center, I think the testing center, they're talking about possibly opening up after middle June or whatever. So that's one of the things I will tell you that we are trying to keep things. Everything's going to be done. There's going to be barriers. We're putting in plexiglass in different areas. The social distancing is going to be there, whatever. So, it's being taken very seriously, but they also know they have to it's got to start opening up at some point in time. So, disability services, if there's anything that comes up, please let me know. I will tell you that I've been doing my best to make sure that all the material I present is ADA compliant, and but this is a lot of this stuff is new to me and it's coming quick, and I'm trying my best. So if anything happens, please let me know if I need to help. If there is anything that you might have as far as questions, but if anything comes up across the board that you think that there's some discrimination, feel free, you can call. If you feel like I've done anything, please call me or talk to me and let me see if I'm doing something. I'll never do anything on purpose. And this is kind of a big thing. And I try to tell people, if in your life, like I said, attitude and respect, if in your life somebody says something that offends you, you need to understand there is a possibility that they're saying something out of ignorance, right? when I am talking, I can only control whether I am trying to be offensive. I can't control whether you're offended by what I say. I can only control whether I'm trying to be offensive. So, and I've had this happen before in the past where I've said something and someone came and said, you know, that kind of, you know, that example you said was kind of could have been taken a little differently. And I'm ignorant on a lot of stuff. So by all means, come talk to me, or whoever. But if I don't change, if I say, whatever, then definitely go talk above my head, because if I'm wrong, I want to know that I'm wrong, because I'm not here to try. I want to teach you anatomy and physiology. I think anatomy and physiology is amazing. But that should be with anything. Anybody that you feel, if you try to see if they're trying to be offensive or whatever, definitely talk to the college and have them look into it. Title IX requirements. Again, this kind of goes into a little bit more of that. So just, if there's anything that you feel that you need to talk to somebody about, the staff the college is there. And I say this in my personal classes. I don't know how online is going to work as much, but in my face-to-face classes, I become very close to my students in general. And people will tell me things, and I've got to stress right up front that while I care about all my students, I'm still in a position where I have to be a professor. If someone tells me something personal that I feel might have that person being in danger, I have a responsibility that I have to tell. I have to go to the school to inform. And it's not that I'm trying to be a snitch or anything like that, but I can only imagine, I can't even imagine what would happen if I had someone, a student that had told me something, even in passing, that like their boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, was violent, and man, I was scared the other night, or whatever. If someone, I had before where someone came in with a bruise, and oh well, they weren't really. I can't hold on to that. So again, I hope that makes sense. But if anything's going on, please, we have professional counselors. We have people that you can talk to. And in this world right now, because everybody's so stressed, tensions are flaring, and I've seen it, just around our neighborhood. So please understand, if you need to talk to somebody, we have professional counselors that are there, and it is part of your tuition. It doesn't cost you anything. So I hope that makes sense. I don't know. I don't like talking to this computer. I like talking to my classes. So that is the instructional package. I know this video went a little bit longer. I'm going to put some other videos together, the lab instruction and lecture instructor, kind of talk a little bit more specific about each class, but wanted to put that out there. I hope everybody is doing well, and I hope that you all stay safe. And I look forward to this semester getting started and all going well. Take care.